Hey guys, my name is Andy and I am here to talk about the new Ego Nexus power station. Now, if you caught my last review about the Ego Nexus Escape, you know that I wasn't really impressed with what they were able to do with it, or at least what they did with it, and I complained a lot that they really should have actually made it more powerful and made it so it could power more stuff around the house. Well, Ego decided to come out with this thing now, and as I will go into this review and explain, they kind of covered some of the major bases, but at the same time, just the way it was presented kind of pushed me the wrong way here, a little bit here and there. Plus, they didn't come out with the bare unit first, or at least offer it. So to get a hold of this, you had to essentially pay $1,200. And most people that just have these batteries sitting around don't really feel like spending that much money. They just want to be able to do something with their remaining batteries. Now, as I mentioned, there were a number of things I liked about the unit first, and I will go ahead and cover those naturally. We'll do kind of a pros and cons approach. I'll show you some of the things that I liked and that I disliked about it. Before I dig in, I do want everybody to know that I am not a paid person. I wasn't given this unit. I actually had to purchase it. I'm just a big Ego fan, and this review might actually make some people a little bit upset that are big Ego fanboys or that worship these products. I typically really like their stuff, but that's why I'm also a little bit more unbiased, and I will tell you their flaws. I have no problems pointing them out, but I do like where Ego's going with some of their stuff here. So let's go ahead and dig on in. Let me kind of show you some of the ins and outs of it, of what I like here the most. Now, as a basic walk around, I'll kind of show you what you really have that they give you here packaged. First of all, these two little green things I have on the top, these are actually supposed to be screwed on the front. They're supposed to be covers to make this watertight, or at least water resistant, so water can't get into this stuff. I don't plan to use this outside, so I didn't really feel the need to put the covers over all the top of the vents here. You'll also notice as I walk around here that you do see that I have multiple different types of batteries here. First of all, the batteries that come with it are these newer ones that have the fuel gauge on them. It's been a long time that we've actually been waiting for those, but they finally came out with them. The ones I have on the back here are the older 7.5 amp hour batteries. You'll notice what they do is different. This one just stays on steady, and if it were down to any different level of fuel, it would only light up those bars. The older ones, since they have no way of showing, I guess this is what Ego is saying is our answer of the way it's supposed to be presented. So they go ahead and it cycles through all the flashing light colors. I do have 4 total of these 7.5 amp hour batteries, and when it's not under load and you get these all plugged up, under here, at least with the 4 7.5 amp hour batteries, it actually tells you what the available power that it will push out is. Now this will actually change. I believe this one says 1,000, this one says 1,500, or maybe it's 600. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but this changes depending on the size of the batteries you have. I could probably go into depth, but you could see in the manual yourself how that works. This right here is kind of a power gauge of how much of the active battery power it is using. Right up here, these tell you which bays actually have the batteries plugged into them. You have down here the ports, got 4 USB ports, and then you also have the 3 AC vents that are down here. To turn on each one of these, you just actually push the buttons here. This goes ahead and turns on, obviously, the USB and the AC separate. And as you do that, you can see on the screen, it turns off and on the icons up there. So I guess I'll just go ahead and show you the way the battery swapping works on this. It's actually pretty simple. I'm starting with one of the 2.5 amp hour batteries I got, and that is the only battery that I currently have loaded onto it. So you turn the power on with just that one battery. It will go ahead and cycle on through, and then just like I mentioned, it actually says right down here 600 watts is all that it will allow you to push because you only have that one battery. If you go ahead and throw another battery, we'll put another 2.5 on here. It waits, it registers it. Once it actually shows up down here, it goes ahead and bumps that up. Now you have 1,200 watts that are available. And just like the other older units I showed you earlier, these don't have fuel gauges, so they just go ahead and flash to let you know what's going on. Now, if we go ahead and throw another battery on here, we'll put one of our other 7.5's on. Once it registers that, instantly up to 2,000 watts available. That is really cool, the way that you can actually swap, and you can do it on the fly here. Clearly, you can go ahead and take one out, remove it. It will show you the appropriate time that is actually available with each one as you do it. So you take that out, go ahead and throw another one in. If it is above what is the full range, it will just say 88 on it, is one of the things I've learned here. So that's pretty cool, the way that it goes ahead and swaps out. It can hot swap, and more importantly, if you have more than 4 batteries, if you're actively using the generator, once one of them is depleted and it actually goes out like this, you pull that one out and you don't even have to turn it off or stop powering it. That is really cool, the way that Ego made it so you can hot swap. That's one of the things that I was pretty impressed that they were able to do with this. So one of the more trick features that Ego did add with the power station that makes it pretty cool is the way that it can actually be plugged up by Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to their app, the Ego Connect app, and it can be used on an iPad or an Android tablet. I've got it currently opened here, and as you can see, it shows all sorts of really cool information here. Most importantly, it tells you the exact percent of each battery that is in each port. Each port is numbered off to the left. You see 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it does correlate on the side here of the different numbers you have. So that's one of the cooler things. Also, the only place that you will be able to find out exactly what a draw is that you are currently using is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on our toaster oven. Just because it has a pretty strong draw, it will give a good example of how this works, and it will also show you a surprise that nobody else has probably mentioned in any other reviews on this. Yep, it's not completely silent. It's still technically quiet compared to a gas generator, but it is not quiet per se and silent. It's running computer fans back here, and I believe they even get louder as we get closer to 2,000 watts. Let's take a look here. Our runtime is said to be 1 hour and 2 minutes. Keep in mind, this is on 4 7.5 amp hour batteries that we are getting 1 hour of runtime at 1,266 watts. Yep, that is all you're going to get out of a 1,300 watt draw is 1 hour. Now you'll go ahead and you'll see that the numbers will kind of fluctuate a little bit up and down. This is because the toaster oven I have turns on and off. So as you see the numbers bouncing all over the place, that is just for that reason that it's continually changing. So that's going to kind of lead me into one of our next points here. I'll cover it in just a moment, but as far as all the Bluetooth stuff goes, this is really cool. I really like what it does. I like the connectivity. I like that you can find out the exact draw you are getting on each item if you're connected. So that's really kind of trick. That's one of the cooler things that I've seen it can do. And just being able to tell the exact percentage of each battery shown in real time of actually how much juice you have left. That is the only place you can find that on Ego batteries. As you can see, I mean, the fuel gauges on the new ones do work, but on the older batteries, all you get is just a flashing light when it's connected. Doesn't really tell you anything useful. I think that's just about it on this part. We'll dive into kind of my closing and one of the things that kind of gripes me more than anything about this. Overall, the functionality is pretty cool. A little bit noisier than expected. Not completely silent, but still nowhere near as loud as a gas generator. Okay, so as we get back here to closing, I do just want to talk one other thing here that is kind of important, and that is the way that Ego advertised this product. And this is what drives me absolutely nuts. When you look at this box, what do you notice first of all? If you're walking down the aisle and you don't know anything about electric anything pretty much, and you're just looking at generators, what do you see? 3,000 watts is the first thing that you're going to see, obviously. And then you look over a little bit more. 3,000 watts in the big circle. Pretty cool. A 3,000 watt generator. 3,000 watts peak. The only place that Ego even advertises the 2,000 watts running on this entire box, because I've looked the whole thing over, is right here. 2,000 watts running. Now, we all know Ego products are really nice. I mean, they're real well designed and they're not cheap. Why Ego felt the need to hide the 2000 running watts drives me absolutely nuts, because they do make good stuff. They would have come off a lot better here. Now, everywhere you look, even on their website, on Home Depot's website, everything considers this a 3000 watt generator, and that is not even remotely accurate. It will push 3000 watts peak for 3 seconds maximum, and if you go over 3 seconds, it will go ahead and trip the breaker and shut it off. Now, you have to be under 2000 watts running, and that is actually the number that you have to keep in mind if you're going to be buying this generator. A lot of people are going to be disappointed to find out 2000 watts isn't even going to be the accurate watt hour time if you have the 4 7.5 amp hour batteries. I'm going to break this down here real quick, and I'll kind of explain what I mean. So you have 7.5 amp hour batteries. Say we have 4 of them. That gives us 30 amp hours. Multiply that by 56 volts, and that gives you exactly 1,680 watt hours. That means if you have 4 of these 7.5 amp hour batteries and you run an item that is 1,680 watts for an hour, the batteries will be completely dead. Now, that would be great if we lived in a perfect world, but Ego themselves will also tell you, if you contact them with questions, that only 80% of the power is usable. The last 20%, it cuts off the battery and doesn't let you use it. For that reason, that brings that 1680, if you take 80% of it, brings it down to 1,344 watt hours. Yes, so let me go ahead and break this down again. Advertising, 3,000 watts. 3,000 watts, sounds great, not accurate. 2,000 watts running. Again, it will run 2,000 watts, but that is not what you're going to get if you're actually looking for watt hours. Then that brings us down to the 1680 watts. If you actually look at usable watt hour, that's not accurate either. That will bring you down, after the 80% knocked off of that, down to 1,344 watt hours if you actually run all 4 batteries for an hour straight on a 1,344 watt load. That's how longer you're going to get out of it. Now, yeah, you can run a 2,000 watt device, and I did the math here for you as well. If you want to know how long you can get a peaking 2,000 watt continuous run time, given the math numbers that we have put in here, it is approximately 37 to 38 minutes is all you can get. That's assuming the batteries are fully charged on 4 7.5 amp hour batteries. Yeah, 37 to 38 minutes. Now, this kind of leads me into the final statement that I'm really going to make about this on this review. This is a really cool thing to have if you're, say, tailgating. You're going to run maybe a crock pot or a TV or something like that. That's going to be cool. This is not going to be the item that you want if you are looking for a replacement for a gas generator. I'm sorry, it's the honest truth. It's not. The way Ego sold this, however, is that it's a replacement for a gas generator, and most people, when they think of gas generators, are usually thinking for a backup supply during a power outage. You'll be able to run your fridge for maybe a day or something equivalent like that. Most fridges are around 700 watts. So you might be able to run a fridge for a day, and that's assuming it's not on the coldest settings and it's actually a newer fridge that's more efficient. But ultimately, it's not going to be what a lot of people are thinking. Great for construction sites if you just need bursts of power for power tools. Great for tailgating. Great if you want to have a party in a field or whatever else use you're going to get out of it. But ultimately, it's not going to be for what most people are thinking, and that is backup power for a huge power outage. Will it be useful for that? Yes, but it's not going to last near as long as you think. Now, if you do happen to have a freakishly large supply of batteries, specifically the 7.5 amp hour batteries, which are $350 each, so I wouldn't expect many people keep a ton of those sitting around, you would actually be able to power stuff for quite a while. But ultimately, with the way that it is right now, you're not going to get near as much time out of them as you think. Now that will bring me to our very last point, and that was the way that Ego sold these. I really wish they had come out with the bare tool as an option. It started at $1,300. Already they've dropped the retail price down to $1,200. I'll be the first one to say I got this new, but I didn't pay anywhere near that because I got it off of a wholesaler who was dumping a whole pallet worth of stuff for the price I paid for it, which was below $800 at the time. I thought it was a pretty good deal at that point. $1,200 is getting a little bit steep. If they would sell the bare unit for closer to like $400 to $500, it might be a better sell for a lot of people that are just looking to use some of these batteries. Until then, I can't say that I'm 100% certain I would even spend $1,200 on this. For what I got it for, I was pretty happy with it. Now, I've already read other people's comments on other videos about the same unit that are saying eBay now, you can usually grab one about $400 to $500 used, and there is a lot of truth. I don't know if it's people are actually buying these and keeping the batteries, which is not a bad deal. When you consider each of these 7.5 amp hour batteries retail for $350, the unit comes with two of them, that's $700. You're only looking at $500 more for the unit itself. I don't know if people are doing that or what, but if you look on eBay right now, I think you're gonna find there are a lot of them for sale. That might not be a bad deal. If you can get one that the unit is pretty much brand new and someone just kept the batteries, more power to them. I would love to say that this is a pretty cool device for $400 to $500. I wouldn't mind paying that, but unless you really need the batteries, I don't know if it's actually worth it. I would say, just given the power numbers that I covered here a while back, I would definitely make sure that you have at least 4 of these batteries if you're expecting to power anything powerful for more than about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, as you saw, you can all use a toaster oven for an hour with 4 of these batteries full. As the items get bigger, like I said, a full 2,000 watts, the batteries are all fully charged and you got 4 of the 7.5s, you're still only gonna be looking at about an hour runtime on that. Oh no, I'm sorry. The hour runtime is on 1,300 watts. You're looking at an hour runtime for that. 37 minutes? I believe that's the number that I said. Yeah, you're looking at about 37 minutes. So keep that in mind. Do I like these products? I love what Ego comes out with. I'm really excited to see what they come out with next. I'd like to see them finally go head to head with Ryobi on some sort of a riding mower, a 0-turn mower. I know they can make some pretty amazing stuff, and considering the prices I'm seeing that competitors are even fetching on that stuff, I think Ego would be right down the middle on it. I think they're going the right direction. They're getting more and more powerful. They just came out with their commercial line of tools, which some people are already whining are way too expensive. But when you actually think of what the comparison are for a gas equivalent commercial, it's actually a really good direction they're going. I think this was a good idea. I think the way that they advertised it here was really stupid. And I think that was kind of a step backward for them as far as it goes. Be an honest company. They've been on absolutely everything else. They've been top notch. I just kind of wish they would have been more forthcoming about this. And without having to dig really, really deep, I wish you would be able to find out the real numbers and how long this stuff lasts, because you really do practically have to go through Ego customer support to even get some of the answers I've shared with you today. So I think that about wraps up this review. Feel free to comment. Anything you'd like to know, just let me know. I'll try and answer as best I can. Like, subscribe, dislike, doesn't matter to me. I'm just doing this for fun. It's not my job. Stay tuned. I'll probably continue to review some more stuff here. I keep buying more of the stuff I don't need, but that's half the fun of it. So take care, guys.